The signal came on a Tuesday. At first, the radio astronomers thought it was just another cosmic noise. But this one repeated. Perfect mathematical sequences that couldn't be natural. The news spread quickly through governments around the world. Humanity was not alone. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge of the Horizon *, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel, his eyes fixed on the strange metal structure floating at the edge of the solar system. It wasn't there last month when probes passed through this region. The structure had simply appeared. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," said Officer Bell, her fingers moving quickly across the control panel. "It's in English." Walker's eyebrows rose. "Put it through." The screen flickered to life. A tall, slender being with pale blue skin and large eyes looked back at them. Its mouth didn't move, but words came through clearly. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Telk, ambassador of the Meridian Coalition. We have been watching your world for some time. You have advanced quickly. The Galactic Senate wishes to extend an invitation." 3 days later, Walker found himself in a meeting room with Director Anna Miller, the head of Earth's newly formed Alien Response Team. Government leaders from around the world watched on screens as Ambassador Telk explained the galactic community. The Senate includes over 3,000 species, all living in harmony, Telk said, showing holographic images of strange worlds and creatures. "We have maintained peace for 12,000 years. Your world has much to offer, and much to gain." Miller leaned forward. She was smart, tough, and not easily impressed. "And what exactly does Earth gain from joining the Senate?" "Technology, medicine, knowledge, protection." Telk's large eyes blinked slowly. "And a voice in galactic affairs." Walker noticed something in the alien's tone. Not quite a lie, but not the full truth either. He had spent 20 years in space missions. He knew when someone was holding back. "The Senate has requested a human delegation visit the Central Station," Telk continued, "to begin the membership process." Later that night, Lieutenant Tom Ross, the team's intelligence officer, called Walker to a secure room. Ross was young but brilliant, with a mind that saw patterns others missed. "Something's off about their communications, sir," Ross said, showing data on a screen. "They're using our language perfectly, too perfectly, and there are gaps in what they're telling us about this Senate." Walker nodded. "I felt it too. What do you think they really want?" "Not sure yet." Ross pointed to an analysis of Telk's ship. "But their technology is far beyond ours. If they wanted to harm us, they could have. They want something else." The next morning, Earth's leaders made their decision. Walker and Miller would leave a small team to the Senate station. Humanity would take this step into the stars. As they boarded the shuttle that would take them to Telk's ship, Miller pulled Walker aside. "I don't fully trust them," she whispered. "Keep your eyes open." Walker nodded. "Always do." The shuttle doors closed. Through the viewport, Earth grew smaller, a blue marble against the blackness. Walker felt a chill. They were heading into the unknown, about to meet thousands of alien species and join a galactic community. What he didn't know was that humans were walking into a political game that had been played for millennia. And Earth was just the newest piece on the board. The stars waited. So did the truth. The Senate station was massive. Walker pressed his face to the viewport as their ship approached. It looked like a giant metal flower, with curved petals stretching out from a central hub. Each petal was the size of a small country. "Impressive, isn't it?" Telk said. "Home to representatives from 3,247 species." Miller nodded but said nothing. Her eyes took in everything, analyzing, assessing. Their ship docked at one of hundreds of ports. The human team stepped into a vast hall with a ceiling so high it disappeared into mist. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved about. Some walked on many legs, others floated, a few rolled. The air smelled strange but breathable. A tall figure approached. It had gray skin that shimmered like metal and 4 arms. Its voice came from somewhere inside its chest. "Welcome, Earth humans. I am Grand Arbiter Lox. I oversee Senate proceedings." The creature made a gesture with its upper arms. "Please follow. The welcoming ceremony awaits." They walked through corridors filled with alien technology. Walker noticed something odd. Some species had devices that seemed almost magical. Others used tools barely more advanced than Earth's. "The Senate divides members into tiers," Lox explained as they walked, "based on evolutionary maturity and peace aptitude." "Peace aptitude?" Miller asked. "Yes. Species with histories of conflict require guidance." Lox's tone changed slightly. "Your species has fought many wars among yourselves. This places you in a lower tier. For now." Walker exchanged glances with Miller. There it was again. That hint of something not being said. The welcoming ceremony took place in a circular room. Representatives from dozens of species sat in rising rows of seats. The humans were given places at the bottom. Lox stood at the center. "Today we welcome observers from Earth. They seek to understand our peaceful coalition before formal membership." A large reptilian creature stood from the upper rows. It had red scales and black eyes with no pupils. Its voice was deep and rough. "These humans, they are warriors, yes. They kill their own kind for territory and resources." The creature's tongue flicked out. "How can such beings join us?" "The Dreth always ask the difficult questions," Lox said smoothly. "This is Ambassador Krell of the Dreth Dominion. They serve as protectors for many Senate worlds." Krell stared directly at Walker. "We have studied Earth's history. Countless wars. Nuclear weapons. You even glorify fighting in your entertainment." Walker stood. "We've made mistakes. But we learn from them. Humans strive for peace." "Fine words," Krell replied. "But actions matter more." Later, in their private quarters, Lieutenant Ross connected to the Senate's information network. "Captain, Director, you need to see this." Ross pointed to data on his screen. "There are references to quarantined species in the records. Entire civilizations completely cut off." "Why?" Walker asked. "Most entries are restricted, but I found one case, a species called the Vorax. They refused Senate authority. Their star system is now surrounded by automated weapons platforms. No one goes in or out." Miller's face darkened. "So the Senate's peace has teeth." "There's more," Ross continued. "Lower-tier species provide resources to higher tiers. It's called evolutionary support, but looks a lot like exploitation," Walker finished. A chime sounded. A message appeared on the room's display. The humans were invited to observe a Senate debate the next day. A territorial dispute between two alien factions. "Perfect timing," Miller said. "We'll see how this peaceful Senate really works." What they didn't know was that the Dreth had already sent a message toward Earth. A fleet was assembling. Just as a precaution, they said, in case the humans proved difficult. The game had begun. The Senate chamber was packed for the territorial dispute. Two alien species argued over mining rights on a small moon. The Jeks, soft-bodied creatures with tentacles, claimed they found it first. The Orlo, insect-like beings with glittering shells, said they had historical rights. Walker, Miller, and Ross sat quietly, observing. The debate seemed civil enough, with each side presenting evidence. Then Ambassador Krell of the Dreth stepped forward. "The Dreth will mediate this dispute," Krell announced. The chamber went silent. "The Orlo will receive primary rights. The Jeks may have secondary access with a 30% resource tax." The Jeks representative trembled. "But the evidence is not as important as stability," Krell interrupted. "The Senate has decided." No vote had been taken. No discussion had happened, yet no one objected. After the session, Krell approached the human delegation in the corridor. 4 Dreth guards followed him. "Humans," Krell said, looking down at them. "I hope you found our methods educational." Miller stepped forward. It seemed rather one-sided. Krull's black eyes narrowed. The Jeks lack strength. The Orlo are useful to us. This is how peace is maintained. That's not peace, Walker said. That's control. Krull's scales rippled with color. We have studied your Earth wars. Primitive violence. Millions dead over resources, territory, even ideas. He leaned closer. The Dreth ended war through strength. Those who resist are removed. Walker felt his face grow hot. Is that a threat? A fact, Krull replied. Earth has resources we find valuable. Your position is simple. Accept Senate authority or face consequences. Miller put a hand on Walker's arm, but he pulled away. Earth doesn't respond well to threats, Walker said, standing taller. Krull hissed, a sound like steam escaping. Your species mistakes defiance for courage. This will not serve you. The Dreth's guards moved forward. The corridor fell silent as other aliens watched. You will learn your place, Krull said. The Dreth fleet approaches your world now. A precaution, of course, unless it needs to be more. Walker's control snapped. He stepped forward, fists clenched. Touch our planet, and you'll regret it. Gasps echoed through the corridor. No one challenged the Dreth. Remove them, Krull ordered. Senate security appeared and led the humans away. Back in their quarters, Miller paced. Walker, you can't lose control like that. They're threatening Earth, Walker replied. With a fleet. Ross looked up from his data terminal. It's worse than that. I've accessed more records. The Senate has been manipulating less advanced species for millennia. They take resources, restrict technology, and keep everyone in their assigned place. Miller sat down heavily. And the Dreth enforced this arrangement? Yes, Ross nodded. But here's something interesting. The Dreth have never lost a conflict. Not once in recorded history. They've never faced a species that didn't back down. Walker looked out the viewport at the endless stars. They've never met humans. A message flashed on the room's display. The Senate had confined the human delegation to quarters while reviewing Earth's status. Meanwhile, across the station, Krull met with the Dreth commander via secure channel. The humans refused to accept their place. Krull said, "Prepare for standard pacification procedures." The commander nodded. "And if they resist?" Krull's scales turned a deep red. Humans are primitive warriors. Their defiance is just noise. No species has ever truly fought the Dreth and survived. Back on Earth, military leaders watched as the Dreth fleet entered the solar system. Decisions had to be made. Submit or fight. Humanity had never backed down before. They wouldn't start now. On Earth, emergency meetings filled every government building. Military commanders stared at screens showing the Dreth fleet. 12 massive ships had taken position just beyond the moon. General Adams of the United Earth Defense Council looked grim. Their weapons could destroy our major cities in minutes. Can we fight them? The president asked. With what we have now? No. Adams hesitated. But we do have options they don't know about. Meanwhile, on the Senate station, Miller managed to slip a message to representatives from other low-tier species. A small group met secretly in maintenance tunnels beneath the main halls. The Dreth did the same to us, said Torque, a furry being with 6 eyes. They took our outer colonies 50 years ago. We donated them to preserve peace. Other species shared similar stories. Resources taken, technology restricted, populations controlled. How do they get away with this? Miller asked. Fear, said a plant-like alien named Pax. No one has ever beaten the Dreth in combat. The Senate structure gives the appearance of choice while maintaining control. While Miller gathered allies, Walker and Ross worked on escape. A Senate security officer named Vex had approached them privately. I've served the Senate for 20 years, Vex told them. His gray skin was marked with blue symbols. What I've seen. It's not right. I'll help you access the restricted archives. That night, they slipped through service corridors into the station's central data core. Ross connected his devices to the system. "It's all here," Ross whispered as data filled his screen. The Senate's true history. It began as a peace organization, but evolved into a control system. The Dreth were once a conquered species who overthrew their masters and took over. Walker's eyes widened as he read the files. The quarantine species. They're not dangerous. They just refuse to be controlled. Back on Earth, the Dreth commander's message played on every screen worldwide. Surrender control of your planet, or face pacification. You have 6 hours to decide. General Adams activated Project SHIELD, a secret space defense system built during Earth's Cold War, but never deployed. Hidden stations around Earth powered up. Weapons that no alien scan had detected came online. On the Senate station, alarms sounded. Walker, Ross, and Vex ran for the docking bay. "They know we accessed the archives," Vex said. "We must hurry." They reached a small transport ship. Senate security forces closed in from all directions. "Get to Earth," Vex told them, pulling out a weapon. "I'll hold them off." "Come with us," Walker said. Vex shook his head. "My people need to know the truth too." "Go." Walker and Ross launched the ship as Vex faced the security forces. The small vessel slipped away from the station, heading for Earth at maximum speed. Miller couldn't escape in time. Senate guards took her to Grand Arbiter Locks. "Director Miller," Locke said, multiple arms folded across its chest. "Your actions are disappointing. The Dreth will make an example of your world." Miller stood tall. "You've never actually met humans, have you? I mean, really understood us. What is there to understand? You are primitive, violent, and will be controlled like all the others." Miller smiled slightly. "That's where you're wrong. Humans don't submit well." On Earth, the deadline approached. The president and military leaders made their decision. The message to the Dreth fleet was simple. Earth belongs to humanity. We will not surrender. The Dreth commander laughed when he received it. "Begin the attack. Show them what happens to those who defy the Senate." What the Dreth didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for war since its earliest days, and unlike every other species the Dreth had faced, humans would not go quietly. The first real war the Dreth had ever fought was about to begin. The Dreth attacked at dawn. Their ships moved into position above major cities. Energy beams struck military bases first, then communication centers. The sky burned with fire. The Dreth commander watched from his flagship. "Status: Earth defenses are minimal," his officer reported. "Their weapons cannot reach us. Victory will be quick." Then something unexpected happened. Hidden platforms rose from the ocean depths. Secret bases on the far side of the moon activated. Earth had kept its best weapons hidden, waiting for this moment. General Adams stood in the underground command center. "Launch countermeasures. All units engage." Earth's response surprised the Dreth. Missiles struck their ships. Energy shields flared but held. The Dreth commander laughed. "Is this all they have? Primitive rockets." Then the second wave hit. These weren't ordinary missiles. They carried special warheads designed during the Cold War, but never used. Until now. 3 Dreth ships suddenly lost power. Their weapons went dark. "What happened?" the commander demanded. "Unknown technology," his science officer said, voice shaking. "It disrupts our energy systems." The commander's scales darkened with rage. "Send in ground forces. Take their leaders." Dreth landing craft descended toward Washington, Beijing, and Moscow. They expected easy victories. They were wrong. Earth soldiers fought with everything they had. They knew they were outmatched in technology, but refused to surrender. The Dreth had never seen such resistance. "They keep fighting even when retreat makes more sense," a Dreth captain reported. "They sacrifice themselves to slow us down. This is not logical." Walker and Ross arrived in Earth orbit in their stolen ship, dodging Dreth patrols. They transmitted the data from the Senate archives directly to military command. "The Dreth have a weakness. Walker explained over the secure channel. Their ships are connected in a network. They've never needed to fight independently. Ross added, their combat doctrine assumes enemies will surrender to minimize losses. They don't understand sacrifice. Adams nodded grimly. Then we'll show them how humans fight when everything is at stake. Earth launched Operation Thunderstrike. While the main forces engaged the Dreth fleet head-on, a small team led by Walker took a modified shuttle directly toward the Dreth command ship. They're not even trying to evade our weapons, the Dreth commander said, confused. What are they doing? The answer came when Walker's team crashed their shuttle deliberately into the command ship's main sensor array. The explosive payload they carried knocked out the Dreth's coordination systems. Suddenly cut off from Central Command, the Dreth ships faltered. Their perfect formation broke apart. Earth forces targeted them one by one. On the ground, human soldiers pushed back against the confused Dreth troops. Cities burned, but humans fought for every street, every building. The Dreth commander couldn't believe what was happening. They should have surrendered by now. Why do they continue fighting when defeat is certain? What he didn't understand was that humans had been fighting against odds for their entire history. Sacrifice, courage, and desperate last stands were part of their nature. As the battle turned, the commander made a desperate call to the Senate. The humans, they fight differently. We need reinforcements. But it was too late. The human attack had damaged his ship's core systems. Alarms blared as power failed. The Dreth commander watched in disbelief as his mighty fleet was defeated by a species that should have been easy to conquer. His last message to the Senate was simple. Beware of humans. They do not fight like others. They do not surrender. They are dangerous beyond measure. The first interstellar war fought by humanity lasted less than 3 days. When it ended, the Dreth fleet was in ruins. Earth had won. And the Galactic Senate was about to panic. News of the Dreth defeat spread through the Senate like wildfire. Nothing like this had happened in thousands of years. The ruling factions gathered in emergency session. Grand Arbiter Locke stood at the center of the chamber, all 4 arms raised for silence. Order. We must have order. The room slowly quieted. Representatives from over 3,000 species watched anxiously. The situation with Earth requires immediate attention, Locke continued. The humans have defeated a Dreth fleet. This is unprecedented. Ambassador Telk of the Meridians stepped forward. How could this happen? The Dreth were supposed to be invincible. Clearly, we underestimated these humans, said another representative. They should be destroyed immediately before others follow their example. On a lower level of the station, Director Miller sat in a holding cell. Guards had brought her to watch the proceedings on a screen. They wanted her to see Earth's fate decided. Locke spoke again. I have dispatched investigators to determine how humans defeated the Dreth. Their report is most disturbing. The main screen showed images from Earth's battle. Humans fighting street by street. Soldiers running toward danger to save others. Pilots deliberately crashing into Dreth ships to disable them. Humans display a psychological profile unlike any species we have encountered, Locke explained. They combine high intelligence with extreme aggression and an irrational willingness for self-sacrifice. The chamber erupted in worried voices. Locke raised all 4 arms again. There is more. We have examined their history. These humans have fought wars constantly throughout their development. Not small conflicts, but global wars that killed millions of their own kind. Images of Earth's world wars flashed on the screen. The Senate representatives watched in horror. And yet, Locke continued, they advance rapidly between these wars. Their technology develops faster because of conflict, not despite it. War drives their innovation. Meanwhile, Walker and Ross had reached Earth with the Senate archives data. Lieutenant Ross and his team worked quickly, sending the evidence of Senate exploitation to thousands of worlds. The Senate has lied to all of us. The message read, lower-tier species are not being protected. They are being controlled and harvested. Back in the Senate chamber, the debate raged on. We must destroy Earth completely, insisted a representative from a high-tier world. Their influence could spread. But their system contains valuable resources, argued another. We should capture them, not destroy them. Lox raised a hand for silence. There is another option. The humans defeated one Dreth fleet, but they cannot defeat the combined might of the Senate. However, direct confrontation is risky. I propose classification XP. Murmurs spread through the chamber. XP classification was rarely used. Prohibited species status. Someone asked. No contact allowed. Exactly. Lox nodded. We establish a quarantine zone around their entire solar system. No ships in or out. Cut them off completely from galactic society. The vote was quick. Earth was officially classified as XB, too dangerous for contact. Automated weapons platforms were deployed around Earth's solar system, creating an impenetrable barrier. In her cell, Miller watched the Senate celebrate their 6 months after the war. Earth had changed. New defenses circled the planet. Engineers had studied the captured Dreth ships and learned much. The quarantine around Earth's solar system kept other species out, but it also kept humans in. Captain Walker stood on the bridge of the Defiance *, Earth's first true warship built with reverse-engineered alien technology. Beyond the quarantine line, space looked empty. But he knew better. Ready to jump, Captain, said his pilot. Walker nodded. Take us through. The ship vanished in a flash of light, reappearing beyond the Senate's barriers. Their mission was simple: find allies. Back on Earth, Director Miller addressed the Global Council. Her time as a prisoner on the Senate station had made her stronger, more determined. The quarantine works both ways, she explained. The Senate fears us, but that fear protects us too. They won't risk attacking again. A council member stood. But we're trapped in our own solar system. Miller smiled. Not for long. Across the galaxy, change was spreading. Vex had survived and taken Ross's evidence to his own people. Lower-tier species were questioning the Senate's authority. The word Earth was whispered with both fear and hope. On the Senate station, Grand Arbiter Lox faced a crisis. More than 30 species had formed a new coalition, demanding equal rights. This is Earth's influence, Lox told the emergency session. One species defeats the Dreth, and suddenly everyone questions our ways. Perhaps our ways needed questioning, said a representative from a former low-tier world. For too long, we accepted control disguised as protection. The Dreth, once the Senate's enforcers, faced their own problems. After their defeat, rebellions had broken out across their territories. Their myth of invincibility was shattered. Walker's mission took the Defiance to worlds that had suffered under Senate rule. On each planet, he shared Earth's story and offered alliance. Many accepted. We don't want to conquer, Walker told them. We want to build something better, a true community of equals. 6 more Earth ships joined his fleet. Together, they established outposts beyond the quarantine zone. The Senate sent warnings but did not attack. They remembered what happened to the Dreth. A year after the war, Walker and Miller led a bold mission. Their ships bypassed Senate defenses and appeared directly at the station, but they did not come to fight. We bring evidence, Miller announced to the stunned Senate. Centuries of manipulation and control. The truth that was hidden from member worlds. The evidence was broadcast to every species in Senate space. Records of exploitation, secret directives, the real history of the peaceful Senate. The effect was immediate. More species joined Earth's coalition. The Senate's power crumbled as its foundations were exposed. You have destroyed order, Lox accused Miller and Walker. No, Walker replied. We've ended control disguised as order. Real peace comes from respect, not fear. In the months that followed, the old Senate collapsed. A new Galactic Council formed, with all species having equal voice. The quarantine around Earth was lifted. Humanity joined the stars not as conquerors, but as equals. The Dreth eventually joined too, humbled by defeat but respected for their courage to change. Earth became known throughout the galaxy for one remarkable thing. They fought just one interstellar war. That was all it took. Years later, a plaque was placed in the new council chamber. It read, "Peace through strength is temporary. Peace through understanding is eternal." Below it, smaller letters added, "But sometimes understanding requires showing your strength first." The galaxy had learned that lesson. Humanity had taught it well.